Alrighty guys, well, coming up in this video is going to be an update on the house build, or may I say the lack of house build. And I'm going to review a bunch of stuff that has happened to not only us but to other people, and how we've got, I believe, an actual con man amongst our midst here. Unfortunately, we fell for it. Unfortunately, a bunch of other people fell for it. And we're going to go over some of the points of how it happened, what he's done to perpetuate the con, and I'll just leave the rest up to the video. All right, we'll see you in just a second. Alrighty guys, like I said in the introduction there, we're going to be going over a house build update and really the lack of progress on our house build. You're going to have to excuse me, I had to make some notes because I want to make sure the timeline is correct, and I don't want to be redundant and go over a bunch of information that I've already covered in previous videos. If you haven't seen the previous videos and you want to get up to speed, I'll just put some links in the description. One thing that I need to do real quickly before we proceed is I may need to make two important statements. Number one, it's been brought to my attention from the previous videos that we've done that some people are under the impression that the builder is a Filipino. And I want to clarify right here, right now, that that is not the case. The builder is an expat. He is a foreigner. The other thing that I need to clarify is, and that people have asked me, and have every right to, is, Paul, why haven't you named this guy? Yeah. Why haven't you told us the name of his company? Civil lawsuit. Civil liability lawsuit is the reason. I actually consulted with an attorney prior to the very first video because I was concerned about that. Unfortunately, there is another gentleman that's involved in the same scam, I'm going to call it, of the house build, and he is doing YouTube videos. He did name the builder. He did name the company. He did name the co-conspirator. I had breakfast with him a couple of days ago, and he got hit with what I just talked about, a cyber civil lawsuit. And so I cannot defame anybody here on social media without facing the possibility of that. And unfortunately, that was what happened to him. And the minimum, or one of the punishments involved if you are convicted of that, is 6 years and 1 day in prison. So I take it pretty seriously. So it's really no secret here in our area who the person is. I have nicknamed him Bernie Madoff of the Philippines, because what he's doing reminds me a lot of what Bernie Madoff did for years and years and years. And that was to build up a pyramid or a Ponzi scheme using, this guy's money to pay for that guy, and on, and eventually it's just like a house of cards. It just falls down upon itself. So what I want to cover in this is that today is, you told me, is what? December 19th. Yes. Okay. On November 26th, we were called to the office of the builder. When I say we, it's myself and a number of other people have been swept into this same debacle. To my best of my knowledge, approximately 30 to 35 people are in the same state of disrepair, financial hurt as we are. Yeah. We are probably the most fortunate of everyone, just due to the financial damage that's been wrecked by this guy. We did not get that deep into it up front. Other folks, I am very, very sad to say, put their life savings into it, and they have just been decimated. Before I get into the meeting and what was said, that just sort of puts a fine point on the damage this guy is capable of doing. There are people that we know to this day that I spoke to over this last week that are in America trying to do their build from afar, and they have actually canceled their retirement. They now have to go back to work because they trusted this man with pretty much their life savings to build their retirement home for them. And he has, for all intents and purposes, absconded with the money. Here we go. And there's more to come after this, but I can only put so much in one video. So we'll break it up. Anyway, here's what happened. On November 26th, we, the people that are involved in this, myself and the other, I'll call them victims or volunteers, however you want to look at it, went to a meeting which he pulled together. Yeah. And he wanted to assure us that he was aware of the problem. He wanted to tell us that he took full responsibility. And the reason I have notes here is that I recorded every single word he said. Yeah. So this morning I went back and I listened to it, and he made 6 or 7 points. I'm going to cover about 2 or 3 of them in this video. Otherwise it would go on for an hour and a half. So I've clarified that he's not a Filipino. I've clarified why I'm not naming him outright, but it's easy enough to find. And I will put links into the previous videos for those of you that want to get caught up. Okay, enough of that. What he assured us of in the meeting real quickly is a couple of 3 points. That number one, he of course was apologetic and saying it's his fault. He said that the money that was to be used for our home build had been embezzled by an employee. That is as far from the truth as it gets. That this so-called employee embezzler, I should say, is helping another guy with his build. He's just shined on the builder and is using that gentleman now. So no, there's no embezzlement. No, there's no employee that ran away with the money. And if you're any kind of businessman or any kind of savvy guy that's supposedly running a company of this size, then the number one rule of business is always cash flow. And it's always keep an eye on the money. You never take your eye off the books. That's something that you do daily. A guy that runs a sorry store down the street from me knows that. He's got to make sure he's got enough funds to continue business. So this guy saying that he didn't know that this guy took his money from him is just a story. But in order to make things right, according to him, he has sold off his own personal land, and he has sold off all of his Bitcoin. And so now he says, I'm flush with cash, and I'm going to finish everybody's home as planned, and I'm not going to even charge you any more money, because there are incremental payments as the houses progress, until it's finished. And I hand you the key, and that was his promise to each and every one of us. That was on November, what did I say? 26th. Okay. He also stated, because the question was asked, hey, Mr. Builder, none of our workers have been paid. I didn't ask this question. This was a guy that was on a Skype call or a messenger call. People from America, like I said, were in. There were about 25 people in the room altogether, including him. And the question said, our workers haven't been paid. Now, keep in mind, this is on a Tuesday that we're having this meeting. And he acknowledged that, and he said, yes, I know on the 21st, 5 days prior to the meeting, he supposedly liquidated his Bitcoin, and he liquidated whatever land holdings he had, and now he had this cash, and he assured each and every one of us, I just listened to the recording for the second time, that on Monday, the day before the meeting, he had paid his workers. And the guy on the Skype call came back and said, well, that sounds funny, Mr. Builder. It's Tuesday, and I just talked to him, and They said they haven't been paid. And he goes, well, some of the money went out this morning, and it was afternoon and whatnot. So they're paid up. I promise you they are. So there's point number one. I'm going to pause at this point of the video because we said to ourselves, okay, we're talking to him on Tuesday. He's claiming that he paid everybody yesterday, Monday, back then. And so we gave it a day of property with her sister.
Yes.
And this is what happened. Has the contractor paid you your wages?
No salary.
No?
No salary.
No salary.
2 weeks, no salary.
2 weeks, no salary.
Yeah.
Okay. And today is Wednesday or Thursday?
Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday,
27.
27th. Okay, just want to clarify. Thank you very much. Alrighty, so you heard it from the horse's mouth. There were 7 gentlemen, I believe, there.
Yeah.
And they hadn't been paid in 2 weeks. And so we just felt awful with these poor guys. And what did we do?
It said no salary, and then the wife is getting mad because is waiting for the husband for salary.
And what did we do for them?
And give you and me, you give for the money for buy the food.
It wasn't a lot. I didn't have a lot on me.
Yes.
But we gave him some money.
Yeah.
You can't sit there and look at these guys. I mean, I'm not responsible for them, but they are on a place that, we're involved
Yeah.
in. And it's like, this is wrong. So we gave them enough money, I think, for enough food for 2 or 3 days,
Yeah.
I guess, maybe. I don't know. We just took pity on them. And I know another gentleman that has been going way above board and feeding them every day because people are out there. We no longer have that issue because we went out there a number of times since then. He also told us in the meeting that he's got a dedicated person that does nothing now but obtain building permits. So we're along the line. We found out as we checked on our property that we had gone to the municipality, and I have a video about this which I'll link into the description. It's on her channel, but I'll link it in.
Yeah.
We don't have a building permit, and we've got 3 complaints lodged against us by
Yeah.
the barangay
Yes.
for building without a permit.
Yes.
So we went to the municipality, and again, I'll leave all the details of that out because it's already been spoken about in another video, but that's been its own rodeo in and of itself. And so this person that has been a dedicated person to go down to take care of all this, over the last few weeks since this meeting, we've been to the municipality, I don't
Yeah.
know how many times, and she's struck up a relationship, her and her sister, with
Yes.
the people that work there, both the barangay and the municipality, and they keep asking, hey, has this guy been in here or anybody from his company been in here to obtain any building permits? I said, no. And then they said the last time we went that they did see him in there. You and your sister
Yeah.
said they told you that they saw the builder in there and not a designated person to go do it. And he was getting a building permit for somebody else
Yeah.
simply to perpetuate a scam that the person was not aware of all of this taking place. This is another guy that he's still working the deal, even after all this heat. And what did they ask him? Did they ask him if they knew somebody?
Yeah, the municipality, the lady said, in Paul McGill, and then the builder is very shocked.
Yeah, so
like that.
they asked him straight out because we've been in there so much. They asked him, hey, do you know a guy named Paul McGill?
Yeah.
And didn't his face change and he couldn't
Yes,
talk or something?
yes.
So it kind of rattled his cage. I guess he wasn't aware that we had been quite this proactive. All right, so what's one of the last things? Oh, and then the other beauty of it is he said that on Thursday, I'm still referencing November 25th or 6th. I can't even see. Yeah, 6th, 26th. In that meeting, he also made the gallant claim that on Thursday, day after tomorrow, from the meeting, there would be a full crew on every property. And he had hired double employees to make it happen. Because remember, he sold a bunch of land and he sold his Bitcoin and he's using his own funds and he's going to make sure all of us are whole. And so we've been out to our property. This is going on almost a month since this goofy meeting. It's been at least 3 weeks. And we're down to 2 guys living in the barracks.
Yeah.
And the only reason they're there is they got nowhere else to go. They don't have any money. And so we keep going up there and we skip see these poor guys. They're brothers.
Yes.
And where do they live? Pam something?
Yeah.
Pam Palanga or something? What's it called?
What I call that? I forgot.
Okay. It's about an hour and a half away,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay. So these kids, they don't have the gas or the money or anything else, and I guess they don't have anywhere to go. And so we've been tossing them a few bucks whenever we go up there
Yeah.
and we see them. There's always one motorbike up there. And we have continuing plans now that, or what we've come to the conclusion of is there are no builders. I've talked to everybody else that I can talk to that's involved in this. Like I say, at least 30, 35 people, and nobody's got anybody there. There's no motion. We don't even know where this dude is. He has, which I will cover in another video to follow up, he has also reportedly committed now a criminal offense. Apparently all this stuff is civil. But between him and his cohort, he has apparently sold a stolen car to someone. But that's another story for another video and what kind of ramifications he's facing. We don't know if this guy's here in town still. This is the 19th, and I haven't talked to anybody. Usually they call me up and they say, hey, we got a spotting. I heard he was in Cebu, but I don't know if that's true. I've heard this and I've heard that. But I don't like conjecture. I like proof. I like to see it.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you what I've heard because that's just hearsay. What I know is nothing that was said in that meeting was fulfilled. It was all smoke and mirrors. My idea, and he's got to have millions of US dollars in the bank, in Bitcoin. And why he's perpetuating this still, I asked myself, what's this guy's number? I mean, Howard Hughes said every man's got his number. And in conversation with some other people, we've kind of come to the conclusion that it's no longer about the money. He gets a thrill out of it. He's got one of those personalities with zero remorse. Bernie Madoff. Think Bernie Madoff. Ruining people's lives. Now, are we victims? I like to think that I'm a volunteer. I like to own it when I do something wrong. And so there were probably some signals that I could have seen that I missed. So is this his fault? No, it's my fault. He is what he is. He's that kind of creature. And I fell for his bullshit, pardon my French. He's very good at what he does. Believe me when I tell you, and I know I don't have to do much convincing, I was not the smartest guy in that room that day. In fact, I was probably on the bottom of the food chain when it comes to IQ. We both have coughs.
Yeah.
And so some highly intelligent, highly successful people got sucked into this same drama. We both feel horrible about the people that have lost their life savings. People in America, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but they have to go back to work. I have another couple that I've talked to. They've spent untold amounts of money packing up shipping containers, and I don't know how many thousands that cost because they were moving everything over. Now they don't know. They had to cancel that, so there's a few $1,000 out the window. They don't know if they should sell their house, keep their house, downsize. They are depressed, clinically depressed. And there are people that have been severely, severely financially damaged by this. I take no joy in saying that this is pretty much a speed bump in our financial life. 4 or 5 months of income lost. Yeah, well, like I said, we didn't go into it with, we didn't jump full in. But that's the update on the Bernie Madoff of Dumaguete or the Philippines and his cohort. There is going to be a lot more to come. I don't want to make a video. This is delayed by a couple of weeks, I think, at least, something like that, because I want to make sure that I have all my ducks in a row. And when I tell you something, I want it to be true and honest and accurate. And so there's a lot more going to come out of this. I could go into a bunch of conjecture, hearsay, things I believe, but I can't prove. And so when I can prove them, when I can say, okay, I've seen this with my own 2 eyes, I'll be sure to tell you guys about it. And anyway, we thank you for watching.
Yes.
Thanks for hanging in there with us. If we don't see you before the next video, we want you guys to have a very, very, very Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, guys.
All right.
Advance Happy New Year.
We will see you in the next video,
Yes.
guys. Bye.
Thank you.